Welcome back. We got another episode of Let 'em Ride for you. We're going to be going over the 4-game slate for the WNBA action on Tuesday, July 2nd. We're going to break down and analyze each of those games. We'll talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points and the spread. And then any plays that I put in for those games, I will have listed down below in the pinned comment later on. So don't forget to check back in. That way you don't miss out on any of those. And then we'll recap Monday's picks along with these picks here for Tuesday on the Wednesday video. Both games tip off on Monday at 10 o'clock. And I'm recording this video before that. So like I said, we'll recap all of these picks with the Monday picks on Wednesday's video. So let's dive into the picks here for Tuesday. And for our first game, we have the Chicago Sky taking on the Atlanta Dream. The Dream are laying 1.5. The over-under sitting at 159.5. Now, this will be each team's third game in the last week. Both of them are coming in with equal rest, and both are coming in off losses. Both Ryan Howard of Atlanta and Elizabeth Williams of Chicago, they've been out and they will be out for the foreseeable future. Now, the Sky are 6-11, both straight up and to the number on the year, losing their last two to the Aces and the Lynx, both good teams, but they have only covered in one of their last 8 games. They actually held the lead for a good portion of their game with the Lynx on Sunday, but then a disastrous fourth quarter that netted them only 5 points led to their 8-point defeat. Now, Angel Reese set the WNBA record in that game, not just for rookies, the WNBA as a whole record for consecutive double-doubles at 10. And that was a record that was previously held by former WNBA great Candace Parker. So that's pretty impressive stuff there. Then the Dream are now 7-10, both straight up coming into this one and to the number. They have lost 4 of their last 5, and that lone win was in Connecticut over a Sun team that has fallen into a rut. They have covered in their last 2 games. Both of those were as double-digit dogs. The Sky are the third worst offensive rated team in the W, while the Dream are dead last in that regard. Then over their last 5 games, they're the bottom 2 teams in terms of effective field goal and true shooting percentages. They have both been middle of the pack as far as defense, but then in their last 5, the Dream have been the third worst team defensively in the league. The Sky, they prefer to play from inside. 52% of their points scored come from inside the paint, and that's the most in the W, and they are shooting and making the most field goal attempts from the restricted area. Then Atlanta gives up the third most attempts and makes from that area. But Atlanta thrives in the mid-range as they lead the W in percentage of points scored from that area and field goals made. And the Sky have been middle of the pack in terms of mid-range defense. The Sky are they're 3-4, both straight up and against the spread on the road this year, while the Dream are 3-6 straight up and just 2-7 to the number at home. So with all things considered here, I'm going to lean Chicago. They played Minnesota tough on Sunday. I think Angel eats in this one down low. I think she has a big game, and I think the Sky get the dub here on the road. For the total, both these offenses have struggled to score consistently. The Sky are playing at the 7th slowest pace in the W, while the Dream are second to last as far as pace. So I'm going to lean under. Our next game is a rematch of the Commissioner's Cup. We have the Minnesota Lynx taking on the New York Liberty. The Liberty are laying 5.5, and the over-under is sitting at 163.5. Now, Minnesota did shoot 48% from the field and from 3 against New York in that Commissioner's Cup. The Lynx won that one in New York, although the game was played at UBS Arena, not the typical Barclays. It was New York nonetheless, so a home game for the Liberty. A big win for the Lynx. These two, they come into this one with equal rest. However, Minnesota is playing their third game in 6 days, while this will just be the Liberty's second in that same time span. The Lynx lost to the Wings directly after the Commissioner's Cup. It was an obvious letdown spot. But then they struggled early against Chicago as well before a huge fourth quarter helped them secure that win. The Liberty beat the Dream Sunday in their first game back after the Cup, in which they had 4 days of rest in between, and clearly there was some rust to shake off as they fell behind 24-13 after 1 quarter of play. Then they outscored Atlanta by 17 the rest of the way. The Lynx remain the only team in the W to rank in the top 3 in both offensive and defensive rating, and they have a net rating of 11.6, which is just under the league-leading New York Liberty, who have a 12.3 net rating. The Liberty are ranked 4th defensively, and then they rank 1st overall in offensive rating. Then they're also 1st in both effective field goal and true shooting percentages, while the Lynx rank 2nd and 3rd respectively in those categories. The Liberty do rank 5th in turnovers, and they are 6th in opponents' points off turnovers, and the Lynx are tops in the W as far as points scored off turnovers and fast break points. Both these teams excel from the three-point line. The Liberty are tops in the league in three-pointers made from the left corner and above the break, while the Lynx make the second most above the break threes. They convert them at the highest percentage, and they are second in the W as far as three-point shooting percentages from the corners. They are also both tops in the W in terms of locking up on the perimeter. Minnesota is second in opposition's percentages from above the break, while New York is third. The Lynx are actually giving up the fewest makes in that aspect as well. And then the Lynx are also making and converting mid-range shots at the second highest rate in the entire league. The Liberty, give up the second highest shooting percentage and fourth most makes from the mid-range. So looking over the numbers, looking at the matchup, it's hard to fade Minnesota. A lot of the numbers favor them, and then the rest is just kind of even, right? But I think it's a revenge factor that we have to consider in, right? They just lost to the Lynx in New York for the Commissioner's Cup. So New York is coming for this one. They're ready. It was circled on the calendar as soon as they lost that Commissioner's Cup. And then with them being at home, I think those two things kind of tilt this one in their favor. But with that said, I'm not sure I can get behind them winning by 3 possessions yet. I don't know. I'm going to hold off on this one for now. I'll lean New York, and then we'll see if I make it to the window with this one. But for the total, we are sitting at the same line that we saw for the Commissioner's Cup. And these two smoked that one, right? They landed at 183, half a point shy of clearing this total by 20. So I don't know if we'll see, the same offensive explosion that we saw for the Cup. But I do believe both these teams have the ability to score. They both score from deep, and that should allow them to clear this number again and hit the over. And both team totals, they've opened up on the lower side of things, considering what we've seen from these two offenses this year. And despite the stellar defenses from both, I'm inclined to take a look at the over for both of these teams. So all of this will be on my radar. I'm leaning over altogether with this game as far as full game, as far as the team totals. But like I said, with the side, all of this one is just kind of, it's a wait and see, and we'll see if I make it to the window with anything on this one. But I do like the total more than anything. The Lynx have cleared their total for this game in 7 of 10 attempts, or 7 of their last 10. And then New York has allowed the opposition to hit or go over this number in 6 of their last 8 games. The Liberty have cleared their total in 7 of their last 8. But the Lynx have held their opponents under this number in 7 of their last 10. So overall, I do think the full game total going over is the best look that I see out of this game. And for our next game, we have the Las Vegas Aces hosting the Indiana Fever. The Aces are laying 13. We have an over-under sitting at 173.5. The Fever come into this one after securing their first win over a team above 500, and they did so on the road in come-from-behind fashion over the Mercury, a good team. Caitlin Clark was huge in that one. She was 1 assist shy from becoming the first rookie in WNBA history to record a triple-double, as she tallied 15 points, 12 assists, and 9 boards. Leah Boston recorded 17 and 8, and then Alyssa Smith had a double-double as well with 12 points and 15 boards. Indiana dominated Phoenix on the glass in this game, 42-28. And they are now 8-12 straight up. They're 11-9 to the number on the year. But this is the last game of a 5-game road trip for the Fever, and they'll be up against the back-to-back defending champions. Now, the Aces, they come into this one having won 4 straight since the return of Chelsea Gray, and they've won those by an average of 11 points in each of those victories. In their last 4 games since their return, the Aces are 2nd ranked offensively, they are 3rd defensively, and they have the 2nd best net rating. So I think it's safe to say that Vegas really, really missed Chelsea, right? They have definitely looked more like the championship team that we've gotten used to seeing over these last couple years since her return. The Aces were giving up the 2nd most above the break threes, which would have played into the Fever's favor, but in their last 4, they have improved pretty drastically in this regard. They're giving up the 3rd highest shooting percentage still, but on the 3rd lowest attempts per game. So they're just not letting opponents shoot as many threes from above the break as they were before. The Fever do love the corner 3 as well, specifically the right corner, and they convert those at the highest percentage in the W at 46%. And the Aces do struggle here as they are giving up the 3rd highest percentage of makes from that side of the court. They put the clamps on you defensively in the restricted area, however. They're allowing the 3rd lowest shooting percentage and the fewest made field goals from that area, while the Fever make and attempt the 4th most shots from there. The Aces in their last 4 are shooting the highest percentage in the W from the paint, whether that's the restricted area or beyond, and also first from the mid-range. So I'd like the Aces to continue riding high here and secure their 5th win in a row, but that 13-point spread is scary, especially with a Fever team that has, they've kind of closed the gap and been able to cover in these bigger spreads here lately. And the Aces have only covered as double-digit favorites on the season in 2 of 6 tries. The Fever are in a potential letdown spot, though, after that big win over Phoenix. They are on the road, and Vegas is really rolling, so I'll slightly lean the Aces laying that 13, but I'll probably look to them early in the first half, laying 8.5. I think that's what it's at right now. That feels a lot more comfortable. We don't got to worry about that backdoor cash that could possibly come with Indiana with a 13-point spread. But for the total, I'll look to the over here as these are two high-powered offenses. Both are ranked top 5 in offensive rating over their last 5, with Vegas averaging just under 89 points per game and the Fever just over 86 points per game. While the Fever have slowed their pace over the course of the season, the Aces remain the fastest team in the league. I'm going to look for them to control the pace in this game as a whole. All right, and for our last game on the evening, we have the Washington Mystics taking on the Los Angeles Sparks. The Mystics are laying 1 with the over-under sitting at 162.5. The Sparks actually did open up as favorites in this one, and the line has since shifted over to Washington. The Mystics had won 4 of 5, but have since dropped 2 straight to the Sun and to the Aces. Washington is now just 4 and 15 straight up, but they are 12 and 6 and 1 to the number on the year. They have covered in 8 of their last 9. This is the first game of a 4-game road trip where Washington is just 1 and 8 straight up on the year, but they are 5 and 3 and 1 to the number. The Sparks have the rest advantage, but they are back home for the first time after a grueling 7-game road trip in which they didn't crack 1 victory. They did cover in 4 of those 7, however, and they played some tough teams. The Storm, the Lynx, the Mercury, the Sun, the Liberty twice, and then 1 game against Atlanta, who's obviously not in the same tier as any of the others that I just named off. But nonetheless, 6 games against some tough teams. The Sparks are just 4 and 14 straight up, though, on the year. They're 8 and 9 and 1 to the number. But 3 of their 4 wins have come at home, where they are 3 and 4 straight up. This is the 9th ranked offense in the Mystics, taking on the 11th ranked offense in the Sparks. They rank 7th and 10th defensively, and with the Mystics sitting at 8th in net rating, and the Sparks now dead last. There's not much about this game that I like, just being honest. These are 2 bottom feeders that have been very inconsistent throughout the season. So just nothing really pokes out to me, stands out to me as anything that I want to bet on. The Mystics do attempt and make the 3rd most threes from above the break, and they do so at the 2nd highest percentage in the W, while the Sparks give up the 4th most makes and at the 3rd highest conversion rate. The Sparks do get to the line at the 3rd highest rate, while the Mystics are last in that regard, but the Sparks are making them at the 3rd lowest percentage in the league. Despite their struggles, the Mystics are a good 3-point shooting team, and if I had to pick a side, I'd probably be with Washington on this one. But like I said, I'm not interested in betting the side here, or probably anything at all. You have to be leery of the Sparks, as they have been much better at home than on the road, and they are definitely due for a win. But those aren't reasons enough for me to put my money on it. And Washington has been the better team over the course of, well, not over the course of the season, but over the course of the last 5 to 6 games or so. Washington has played more solid than Los Angeles. So yeah, I guess I would lean Washington here. But like I said, I'm not running to the window on anything on this game. And same thing with the total. I'd lean under with the struggles of these offenses, but neither defense is superb either. Both teams turn the ball over a ton, so I just expect a sloppy game overall and stretches where neither team can find the basket, and that's what leads me to the under. All right, guys, that's just about going to wrap us up here for another episode of Let 'Em Ride. Before we get out of here, though, let's recap what we talked about in this video and which way that we are leaning right now. I'm looking at the Sky plus 1.5, and then I'm looking at the Lynx versus the Liberty over 163.5, and then the Aces first half laying 8.5. And these are just lanes currently, so don't forget to check back in later to see if I put any of these plays in, or if I found anything else before tip-off that I wanted to play. And you can see if you'd like to ride along with me, or maybe you look at these and you're like, these picks are duds, man. What are you thinking? And you want to do the contrary. And if you do, that's great, man. Just throw that down in the comments so I can see where your guys' heads are at as well. We could talk about it. I love going back and forth and seeing where everybody's at, what everybody cooked up as well. So don't forget to throw them in the comments. And if you guys enjoyed the video today, you found the information helpful or useful in any kind of way, please don't forget to smash that like button down there. And if you have not subscribed already, please do. That way you don't miss out on any of the content that we drop. And please hit share if you can. It is definitely appreciated and definitely helpful. That's going to wrap us up here for another episode of Let 'Em Ride. I hope you guys have a great night. Best of luck. Bet responsibly. I'll see you on the next one.